The Detroit Lions ranked in the bottom third of the league when it comes to getting to the quarterback, getting the quarterback to the ground. And while we're beefing up that defensive line by means of the interior, the lack of a pass rush is still a concern. Now, Bruce Irvin did come in and make quite the impact on his first game with the Detroit Lions. As far as active for the Detroit Lions, had one sack, one QB hit, and essentially took Derek Carr out of the game. But the Detroit Lions could literally use all the help they could get. And we got a bit of kind of some good news today, I guess, coming from the Detroit Lions locker room. Now, this information is coming from Tim Twentyman, his Twitter account, and also we'll reference an article from M Live. And I assume this video will come up on the Detroit Lions YouTube page as of the making of this video. It's not up yet, but that is none other than the guy you've all been fiending to come back since week 2, James Houston. This is coming from Tim Twentyman's Twitter account. Said, chatted with outside linebacker James Houston today, and he said he's definitely expected to be back before the playoffs. He said he's excited to return and expects to make impact plays for the defense when he returns. So Dan Campbell has said nothing of the sort as far as any timeline. We know that he has to be activated. His 21-day window has to be activated. Now, if he was going to be back by the playoffs, today is December the 6th. They give you about 3 weeks from the time you activate them and open up their 21-day window. That means that they would have 3 weeks to either elevate him to the active roster or, put him on IR for the rest of the season. So we still might have a game or two before he was to have to make a decision. But James Houston, I know you guys are feeling excited about him. You want him to come in and make a difference, and you think that he can be that difference maker for the Detroit Lions. I don't feel like he's that. I don't feel like he's going to obviously be able to duplicate last year, but he's played less games. But anything could help us at this point. Here is what James Houston had to say coming from the Detroit Lions locker room. He says, of course, I was like, man, referring to the injury. Man, this is just the worst time this could happen. But you're blessed to continue to walk. You didn't have to get your leg amputated. Life could be so much worse. You're in the NFL making hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're paying you to get back healthy. So I look at it like you've been given so much. So take what you've been given and expand it as much as you can. Now, you know what? This guy, I've seen a clip or two when he was in Jackson State, and Deion Sanders, and I refer to this quite often, and I think it was the linebacker coach or defensive end coach was trying to appeal to James, telling him that they think he would do better. He would fare better from the edge position, and he was kind of fighting them, and he wanted to play linebacker, but they insisted that he play defensive end, and that is why he was drafted. He was drafted as a defensive end. So, and there's no doubt, there's no denying what he did for us last year in the limited time that he had. But I guess that James feels a lot like you guys do, which as he should. If I'm the same way, right? I feel like I'm one of the best to do it for Detroit Lions on this platform, no matter what some of y'all in the comments say. I see y'all. But I'm not mad at James for his comments here. He said, I feel like me personally as a player, I'm more like I feel like it's not humble saying it, but I feel like I'm a game changer. I make some very explosive plays. I feel like that's what the team needs. They need turnovers. They need explosive plays to swing the momentum in our favor. And I feel like that's something I'm really good at. Well, James, I can't say that you're wrong because that's what you did last year. You came in and you got 2 sacks. You got 2 tackles, 2 sacks in your very first game. And then you wind up getting like sack after sack after sack. I think he only went 1 or 2 games that he did not get a sack. So James Houston, I think he is going to help our defensive line. There's no doubt about it. You're going to have to account for him. And again, I stated it several times as to what I feel what James Houston brings to the Detroit Lions defensive line. I don't think it's power. I think it's speed. That's what I think. But nonetheless, he can help our defensive line. Now, the question is, when could he come back? Of course, we have to still wait on the head honcho, Dan Campbell, to see when he could come back. So let's see. Today is the we are at the 6th of December. The Lions have 5 more games. They have one on the 10th, the 17th, the 24th, the 31st, and January the 7th. If James Houston is activated within the next week or two, if he's thinking the playoffs and we don't get a bye week, which would mean a first round, we would have to get the first seed, then he would be looking to be back on the 13th, 14th, or 15th, which means that at the very latest, the Detroit Lions would have to open his 21-day window the week of Christmas. So we could be 3 weeks away from the 21-day window opening for James Houston. But either way, I do expect him to come back this year and be able to help the Detroit Lions when it comes to their pass rush and their playoff push. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, the article will be linked in the description. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.